camera with some commonly complained about flaws. They include the poor flash design, lack of a grip, a narrow maximum aperture at the telephoto end of the zoom range, a short battery life, slow performance, and relatively expensive price. With the S100, Canon addresses a few of these, plus it adds some desirable new features, including a wider angle 24mm start to the zoom range, manual controls, zooming during video, and a built-in GPS. It also comes in a spiffy new silvery champagne-y color as well as the basic matte black. Despite a slight bump in resolution up to 12 megapixels, the S100 maintains the excellent photo quality that contributed to the S95's popularity. Exposure and metering, color accuracy, and tonal range are all very good, and the lens is relatively sharp. There's some distortion, but less than you'd expect given its minimum focal length of 24mm equivalent. Given its size and its relatively small sensor, it delivers excellent JPEG quality up to ISO 200, and photos remain quite good up through ISO 800. High ISO sensitivity performance is especially important for this camera, though, because the aperture of the lens narrows so quickly as you zoom through even its limited 5x zoom range that you run out of available light pretty fast. The S100 does a pretty nice job shooting video as well, and one of its enhancements over the S95 is the ability to use the zoom during shooting, which it does quietly and unobtrusively. The video is sharp, if a bit oversaturated. You can set it to a neutral color setting if that bothers you. The audio sounds good too, and there's a slow motion recording mode which lets you capture normally and play it back at 240 or 120 frames per second. It saves out a standard MP4 file of the slow motion playback. And disappointingly, Canon didn't improve the S100's performance over the S95. It's still a bit slow overall, and it can't keep up with class performance leaders like the XC1 or the LX5. It also has the shortest battery life in its class, but that's one of the trade-offs you make for size. Smaller camera, smaller battery. The S100's design improves on some of the flaws of the S95, but not the flash. It now has a tiny grip in front and a rubberized thumb rest in the back, which makes it much easier to hold and shoot. It keeps the control ring around the lens, and the ring can be set to control adjustments like shutter speed, ISO sensitivity, exposure compensation, and so on. Functions can be set independently of shooting mode, so that, for example, it can control focus in manual mode or shutter speed while in aperture priority mode. The stepped zoom can also be a surprisingly useful feature for some. It jumps to popular preset focal lengths, which is quite convenient if you need repeatable shots. The most notable new addition is a GPS receiver for geotagging photos. The implementation's pretty basic. You can turn it on or off, and there's a GPS logger feature that continuously records your location between shots to deliver a complete route of your travels. The GPS logger operates even while the camera's off, and that's bound to drain the power, especially if it has a hard time getting a signal in some places. Movie digest mode automatically captures a few seconds of video before you snap a photo, which sounds good, except that in that mode, movies and video are stuck at 640 by 480 pixels. A high-speed burst high-quality mode shoots 8 shots at 9.6 frames